Hello everybody, Maven here, and today I'm going to share with you my new main Titan build. And I'm not just saying that for the video, this is legitimately going to be my go-to build for the foreseeable future. Now just a quick warning, I'm probably going to be ranting for several minutes about why this is my new main build, so if you want to just skip ahead to the build breakdown, I don't blame you. So anyways, this ties back into a recent video I did about my new main hunter build, which was an assassin's cowl build. Now, a couple months after Strand came out and I tried out Starter Facade for the first time, it became my main build, and I was maining Strand Hunter for several months. Strand alone made me become a Hunter main, and I just can't deny it anymore. I am a Hunter main now because of Strand. Because of the Widow Silk aspect, giving you double grapple charges and pairing that along with an eager edge sword, you can skate around and grapple around and get from place to place very quickly and easily. And that movement is how I became addicted to Strand Hunter and why I started maining it, because just generally for any kind of content you do in PvE, that's going to be great for just grinding stuff out quickly because of just the sheer mobility of it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to be a hunter main after this video ends, but there are certain activities in the game where you have to do it on all three of your characters. So in those situations when I have to play Titan, the build I'm going to show you today is going to be my new main build. It is an Armamentarium build. Now, like I said, the reason I play Strand Hunter instead of Strand Warlock or Strand Titan is because of Widow Silk giving us a second grapple charge so we can get around the maps a lot easier and quicker, the mobility of it. But with Armamentarium giving us a second grenade charge, we can also have 2 grapples on Titan. But now some of you guys may be thinking, Armamentarium takes up your exotic slot. You have to use your exotic slot to match what the hunter is doing, so you're at a deficit. Yeah, but think about it this way. Strand Hunter is taking up an aspect slot. There's a lot of other aspects I would love to run, but I can't. You got Ensnaring Slam, you got Whirling Maelstrom, and you got Threaded Spectre. And you can only choose one for your second slot. I wish I could have 2, but you can't. With Titan, you can have your 2 aspect slots. You can have Into the Fray and you can have Banner of War. And we all know how broken Banner of War is. Having that along with double grapples is ridiculous. You know, it gives you a lot of benefits, not only for yourself, but for your teammates as well. So with all of that said, you now know why this is my new main Titan build. Now that was officially the longest Destiny intro on YouTube. So now let's do a little bit of testing and break down the build. So don't forget to drop a like because it really helps out the video. It only takes a second, and I hope you enjoy. Alright, let's finally start the build breakdown. So you already know what exotic we're using and what we're doing with it, so let's just skip ahead to the aspects and fragments here. It's the same setup that you would run on the Synthoceps Strand Titan, which is obviously the meta build. We're just literally swapping over to a different exotic, but it's the same setup. So Into the Fray and Banner of War is such a broken combination. It's such a team player thing. It really helps to have a Strand Titan on your fire team right now because of this combo. Banner of War is going to give you and your fire team healing and also plus 40% melee damage, and everyone in your vicinity getting kills can stack more Banner of War stacks. So it's just absolutely the most broken aspect in the game right now and might get nerfed at some point. Into the Fray, whenever you break a tangle, your whole fire team gets woven mail, and that's like a 60% damage resistance. That's like one of the nicest things that make it a big reason why you want a Strand Titan on your fire team. And these generally, when I play Strand on any subclass, like any character, these are typically the 4 fragments I would go for because they're just the best in my opinion. So we get grenade energy from generation, we get a bunch of different bonuses and maxed out reload speed from Thread of Ascent and just auto load our weapons and whatnot. We got Thread of Wording, so we can get Woven Mail when we pick up an Orb of Power. And between that and Into the Fray, we can have like constant uptime of Woven Mail. By the way, also while we have Woven Mail, our melee regeneration rate is increased, which is very nice because it is a melee build. And then we have Thread of Fury, so we get a large chunk of melee energy back when we throw a tangle at an enemy. Alright, so now let's get to our first test, and we have to test against the Synthoceps. It doubles your melee damage. It's the meta Titan exotic, and don't get me wrong, I'm still going to use this in tougher activities like Master and above, or any kind of content that is like close quarters where eager edge skating isn't as practical and movement isn't necessary. Definitely Synthos is going to be the go-to, but Armamentarium is literally there just for movement, for doing farms, for doing dungeons and raids where you actually want to go fast. Alright, so let's quickly go over everything that is buffing our melee damage real quick. So we got 40% from Banner of War, we got 200% from having a 1-2 punch shotgun, And that's all we got for Armamentarium. If you throw on Synthos, that's another 200% and also buffs your super damage as well. All right, so we're gonna start off with a little test against Cowl, starting off with the Armamentarium. We go in for that 1-2 punch. We hit him with a couple frenzied blades, and it gets him pretty one-shot, but doesn't quite kill him. So now let's move on to the Synthoceps. We're going to do the exact same thing, hit him with one frenzy blade, and as you can see, it does the amount that 2 did on Armamentarium, obviously because it gives another 200% melee damage. That's a 2 times buff. So as expected, did double the damage. And another reason you're going to want 1-2 punch most of the time when you're running a grapple build is because it works with a grapple melee. So we're going to do that test against Cowl as well. Again, starting off with the Armamentarium, going for the grapple melee, and it chunks him for a lot, but it's definitely going to take a couple of these to kill him. So based off of the last test we did with the Synthoceps, as expected, grapple melee absolutely obliterates Cowl in one shot. Having that 2 times melee damage from Synthoceps goes a long way. So it's safe to say we're going to need a little bit of a beefier target for our testing here. So we're going up against Charles, and we're going to do our little Strand Titan combos that you see in sweaty duo Ear Ute and duo Crota videos. So hit him with the 1-2 punch shotgun followed by a couple frenzied blades, because you can manage to get off 2 frenzied blade hits before the 1-2 punch buff runs out. So you can do that and then start shotgunning and grappling above your head and grapple punching him to take advantage of that buff as well. That is another thing that you can do with the 1-2 punch shotgun. So that is definitely a more skillful tech, but if you're going to start maining Strand Titan, that is a technique that you have to get down. But anyways, I get right up in his face, and just when I'm about to get my abilities back, he manages to stomp me out. So it's going to take 2 lives to take down Charles. If I had Banner of War proc just a few more seconds, I may have been able to get those abilities on time to finish him off. So now let's move on to the Synthoceps, and we're just going to fly straight in with the grapple melee followed by the 1-2 punch frenzy blades. And you can see that we're chunking him for a lot more DPS than we were with the Armamentarium. The DPS on the Synthos is ridiculous and definitely vulnerable to getting nerfed in the future. A lot of people are debating whether or not it will be nerfed. But as you can see, we managed to shred Charles in just a few seconds. So yes, I know I just completely dumped all over the Armamentarium, even though that's what this video is about, and then just overhyped the Synthos, which people already know is meta. But the Synthos has its problems too. Like, for example, if you're going to go up against a raid boss, you sometimes have to leave some ads alive because you only get bionic enhancements buff when you're surrounded. And in times where you don't have bionic enhancements active, the Synthoceps are basically doing nothing for you, and it feels bad. So it can be kind of hit or miss sometimes. But like I said, Armamentarium is not meant for damage, it's meant for movement, and I'm definitely more of a movement-oriented player. I like getting around the place and I like the speed. So let's go on to a movement-oriented test against Strand Hunter with the Widow Silk with double grapples, and we're gonna skate as far as we can with both of these characters, doing a side-by-side comparison on the red roof of Nessus, and you can see that the Titan just completely overpowers the Hunter in terms of sheer flying distance with that strafe lift. I just absolutely love strafe lift. It's my favorite jump in the game. So being the movement exotic that it is, the Armamentarium catches a W for the skating test. Now let's move on to how we're able to actually spam our grapples back to back seemingly endlessly. It's a very effective setup, and I had the same exact setup that I already explained in my Assassin's Cowl Strand Hunter video. So for the sake of saving time, I'm just going to play a minute-long clip from that video where I explained it perfectly so that I don't have to do it again. So let's roll the clip. You can also see that we're able to pretty much spam it back to back nearly infinitely, and that's because we have 3 different kickstarts for it. And no, that doesn't mean we have triple grenade kickstart equipped. It means we have 2 other effects that sort of act as a pseudo kickstart. The other one is going to be impact induction. It says that causing damage with the melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown, and we learned a second ago that Assassin's Cowl sees our grapple melee as a charged melee ability, and so does impact induction. So take a look at this clip here. I'll slow it down for you so you can see the energy pop up from grenade kickstart, and then when I hit an enemy with my grapple melee, you can see impact induction give us some grenade energy as well. So it's pretty much just another grenade kickstart. It's kind of busted. And our last pseudo kickstart effect is a combination of 2 mods. There's heavy-handed, which gives us orbs on powered melee final blows like our threaded spike or our grapple melee. And when we make that orb on the spot where we grapple melee the enemy, we are picking up that orb immediately and proccing Innervation to get some grenade energy as well. So once again, in slow-mo, there's the energy from grenade kickstart, there's the energy from impact induction, and there is the energy from Innervation Altogether, it's kind of like having triple kickstarts. All right, we are back to reality, back to the Titan video. So yeah, you can see how that setup works and how it's very, very effective for spamming grapples. And we're trying to expend all our armor charge on grenade kickstart, and we can hold up to 4 we're charged up. And we're easily making orbs of power with heavy-handed because grapple melee procs that, as well as our frenzied blade melee. So we're able to just spam orbs everywhere, get 4 stacks of armor charge, make it easy to get 4 because of stacks on stacks. Also got Reaper, also got Siphons for both of our weapons. Make it really easy on ourselves to expend 4 armor charge on grenade kickstart and just get a ridiculous amount of grenade energy back. And on Strand Titan, it's really important to have recuperation to get some health back when you pick up those orbs of power that you make off Frenzied Blade. And on my chest here, I got double strand reserves for my shotgun, because for some reason, Bungie made lightweight frames carry like no ammo, and each reserve mod is letting us hold 2 more each. But if you're doing harder content, you can just take these off for, you know, resist mods, and then you can run like Wish Ender, whatever you need to run in that slot as well. You also got various fusion rifles and stuff to stun unstoppable champions. You could also have tractor cannon to stun overload champions as well. But you know, there's only 1 week left in the season, so whatever anti-champion weapons they're gonna be, we don't know yet. So move on. We got hands-on, because obviously all the grapples and frenzied blades were spamming. And then we got Bomber and Kickstart. So we place down our barricade, get some ability energy back, and that is basically it for everything. Oh yeah, also Absolution to get some ability cooldowns when we make all those orbs. Now there you have it. That's my new main Titan build wrapped up. Now this is not something that you main 100% of the time. You gotta use it in unison with the Synthoceps. You gotta have both of these builds ready on your loadout hotbar and swap back and forth between them depending on the kind of content you're doing. If it's content that's like wide open, like you gotta get around quickly, it's a dungeon, it's a raid, it's seasonal content, it's a campaign, whatever it may be like that, use the Armamentarium. But if you're doing something where eager edge skating isn't really too useful, then you just throw on Tractor with Synthos. It's easy as that. So basically this video is more or less a PSA to all the Strand Titan mains out there to have an Armamentarium build ready on your loadout hotbar for kinds of content where movement matters. That's basically the point of this video. So with that being said, if you're a Titan main or you got a buddy who's a Titan main, I'd appreciate if you share the video with them. I'm sure they'd find it useful. So as always, I'll leave a dim loadout link to this build down below in the description and the pinned comment if you'd like to give it a try. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button and drop a comment, because interacting with the video in different types of ways like that really helps out the algorithm and goes a long way. So I'd appreciate if you clicked on something. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. Would love to have you here. And with that, I'll catch you in the next video. See you later.